Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Track Feedback Friday, December 16th. We're starting off with a new release from the Matt Schultz, track called Ethereal. Whoa, there's my little time lag monitor screen. Dub techno masterpiece. 100 tracks on this release called Apnea, the VA release. And you know, Matt, you know the style, you hear the vibe. So this is going to be some nice intro music. You can get it on Bandcamp, Apnea label, and congratulations on this. It's a cool title and cool track. We got some happy birthdays. First, Paul Robinson, PR23, hanging out with some family, so I hope you enjoy your happy birthday and maybe catch this on the replay. Also, Shepard's birthday tomorrow. Oh, wishing birthday. I just saw your comment that it's not good luck to wish people happy birthday in the future, but since this is a weekly broadcast, it's going to be your birthday week. I hope that's okay. Sagittarius in the house. Yeah. So while we're listening to this, let's dip over to Discord, and we got some tracks to review. And I want to say a special thanks to everybody for being so cool with me while we had death in the family earlier this week. I look for the positive things in whatever happens. And for me, this really made me think, like, what is it that a human can achieve in their lifetime? And what is getting in our way? At the moment when you realize a person is no longer alive in their body, they have no more options to act or do or change anything, like whatever, they just stop. And what is it that you want to achieve before that happens? I don't want to be all morbid and dark, but there's going to be a moment when you look around and you're like, I don't have hands, I don't have a body, I can't do anything, I'm floating around in a dream, or I don't even know what it's like after death. But the point is, we have a pretty limited amount of time to accomplish things that are important to us, such as making music and publishing tracks and everything. And that actually this week was a big part of pressing me to think about 2023. What do I really like doing? What do I want to do more of? How can I be the best at being Steve? And what are some things that have been kind of holding me back or making me feel like I'm not really in the right space, headspace or whatever. AFL's here. Hello. Yeah, great deep thoughts, I know. So to make it in a cool direction, what I'm focusing on for 2023 is really the creative fun part of making music, like starting a new track, playing with a sound, tweaking a sound, and building it out with something exciting in the music. This is now the 4th year of doing track feedback. If you remember, in 2018, I started in the month of December with 4 posts in the Facebook group, and I said, hey, I'll put up a weekly post, I'll call it New Tracks, see what people have to share and see if it goes. And it turned out to be really popular. So all of 2019 and 2020, I was doing weekly track feedback on Facebook. Then in 2021, we moved to Discord. And also during that time, we started doing video stream feedback. During the shutdown, when I had a lot of time and there wasn't much going on, I was doing, a lot of video reviews. And that was a super cool way to build up a great community and pick up on a few things that I can tell you right now are universal for everybody. I'm always talking about sound design, song structure, and the mix. Well, my focus for 2023 is going to be specifically teaching how to do these things. So for sound design, everybody has to tweak the sounds in your track. The best buildups come from tweaking something that's already in the mix. Not just the reverse cymbal, not just another white noise riser, but taking a synth or something in the mix already and then subtly starting to tweak it so people listening are like, oh my gosh, I can hear a person tweaking knobs on that sound, just like you would hear at a show with a person on a synth getting crazy with the filter and resonance or whatever. So every sound can be tweaked to make a transition or build up. For song structure, it's all about the layers to keep the track interesting. No matter what genre you're producing, you have to answer the question, what goes in the drop and what do I cut out right before the drop to make the drop sound bigger? So layering is a lot of fun. I especially like doing that in session view with the whole concept of how to escape the 8-bar loop by using scenes and stacks of clips and combinations. I love that stuff, so I'm going to do a lot more of that. And then, of course, in the mix, the mix has to sound good, but specifically I like showing channel strips of like, here's a sound, here's all the standard plugins from the audio engineering world. I like to show how did I use those plugins in a customized way to bring that sound into the mix, whether that's an instrument in a synth group or a kick drum or a sub bass or something else. There are always really cool little things. Like, for example, hand drums and congas can sound great at 260 hertz, but a kick drum and a bass line can sound like garbage at 260 hertz. I think that's really interesting. So I'm going to focus on showing off the basic techniques that work for everybody making tracks in these 3 dimensions of sound design, song structure, and mixing. And to do that, check this out. I'm shifting to a new member site with new online courses that are more simple and easier to put up faster so I can make quick tutorials and spread them around. This is the beginning of what it looks like, the Mixotexture course library. This is kind of a skeleton site. It's not all built out. The top one, the first one that's going to go live is going to be the custom rack collection, 48 files. Courses coming up for next year. Escape the 8-bar loop. I love teaching this. Make space for bass. This is kind of like the same thing as gain staging and mixing, but I thought, let's give it a title that makes sense for what we want to get to, is making space for bass, so the low end hits hard. LSD with Operator, learn sound design with Operator. This is a sound design course that's all about tweaking sounds, and I'm planning a whole series of like learn sound design with analog, with wavetable, with the Spectre, chorus, and like all the kind of effects and everything, tension, corpus, whatever. How to EQ your tracks is a very cool technical course on these frequencies and the EQ tools that we were talking about last year. That's going to be done soon. And then the compression clinic. I wanted to have a course where we actually really talk about how to use compression for raising the volume of things or controlling the peaks. That takes some explanation, and I'd like to have a course to refer people to so that when someone says, oh, your mix is overcompressed or whatever, we can say, look, here's a whole hands-on tutorial. You can learn about using compressors in action to get your music sounding better. What are you guys talking about? Tabasco, hoisin sauce. Matt Schultz is cooking again. So, and then the custom rack collection. This is where I'm going to take a new rack and teach how I use it. Meaning, take one rack, tweak it to get some sound design happening. Take a rack, use it in a track, and build up some layers for peaks and drops and escaping the 8-bar loop with the sounds in that rack, showing my own tracks or possibly some from other people. Take a custom instrument and show you how I mix it in a song with the channel strip after the rack. So the rack is a device of like the sound design stuff. Afterwards, you might need EQ and compression or a limiter. So I can teach the mixing techniques. You'll probably recognize these from the free presets on the old site. What I'm adding in here to make it new are a couple of hands-on session lessons where you get tutorials on these instruments. And then we'll be adding new effects racks and templates and tools and all kinds of stuff. So this is going to be like the main kind of outreach course where I'm doing promotion tutorials, sharing these racks, bringing in new ones, lots of updates, lots of mini lessons that are super fast and effective built on these. And that's kind of like the super exciting thing for me going forward. Operator under LSD. Okay. And Ian's here. Now we can start from the ambient clap master. So thanks for watching the little preview. That's a little promo. And remember, Matt Schultz, Apnea Label, bandcamp.com. Grab his track or the whole release. And I really appreciate all the comments on the plan for Discord subscriptions. The last piece of news is that all of the people who are currently on a paid subscription, what I'm doing is Discord has a way where you can have paid subscriptions inside Discord, which I want to activate for all the new people who are coming in the future, so that I don't have subscriptions on Patreon over here and PayPal over there and the old member site over here. That's kind of administrative chaos. I'd like to have all the subscriptions coming in under Discord with track feedback available. Video streams are going to be a separate product, and we're not going to be doing track feedback with 2-hour-long video streams every week. I talked about that in the other video. That's getting to be a bit too much. Taib, thanks for the little review. Oh, stoked on the rack collection already. Yeah. All right, cool. So let's jump in and play some music. And if you have any questions about anything that's going on, please let me know. Also, it's the end of December. We have holiday time coming up, and I'd like to do a live stream that's just like a group hangout during Christmas week for everybody who has some free time, so we can just get together, comment, talk about what's going on, share new ideas and mixes and stuff, and do that. Alcatraz, DJ Waters, what is the update? This is a pre-master ready to go, right?
Convicted gangster Arthur Doc Barker, son of the infamous Ma Barker, is a murderer, kidnapper, and armed robber. He receives a life sentence on Alcatraz.
The U.S. Marshal Service is hoping for a break in one of the nation's most infamous.
I like the layering of the news, where it sounds like you're watching a movie with all these talking heads overlapping, and then there's like a gangster walking in slow motion.
This is what some are calling a wildly optimistic ultimate inmate trio back behind bars.
Where did they go?
6 decades ago.
Doc finds a way out and begins plotting his escape.
Escape from Alcatraz.
There we go. Let me turn this up. drink some coffee to keep up with this track. Shepard's broadcast level up.
Escape from Alcatraz.
Ian, this sounds great.
My name is John Anglin. I escaped from Alcatraz in June 1962 with my brother Clarence and Frank Morris. The FBI declared the men most likely drowned in the frigid waters of the San Francisco Bay.
Prisoner.
Escape from Alcatraz.
The whistles sound good, not too piercing. This part is my favorite.
A few years later, Doc spots a way out and begins plotting his escape.
Did the men survive? If so, where did they go? We all made it that night.
That was my favorite section right here, like 205, that opening part.
At least one of the convicts may still be alive.
Yes, right here.
To date, no bodies have ever been found.
We all made it that night.
I love how the kick drums are changing. It's so exciting.
Stop looking for these men, even if they're in their 90s.
Yes. Turning up my headphones.
To date, no bodies have ever been found.
I'm gonna play with a little high shelf EQ just for fun here. Just to kind of compensate for the sound cloud.
At least one of the convicts may still be alive.
We all made it that night.
And EQ back to flat. Ah, so relaxing.
Did the men survive? If so, where did they go? We all made it that night.
And the sound effects are awesome. Great track. Claps on that. Totally done. What I like is I love the smoothness of the kick drums changing tone and texture, so it's like a rhythmic conversation, but the pressure level is the same for all the low end and the fuzz on them. The high mids, the siren, the squeaky things are loud but not like ear piercing, which is good. All the vocals are at a high level. The storytelling of the audio clips of new people on the news and then the interviews and everything makes a great story. And the beats are fucking mental. Cool conversation going on about freeze, flatten, audio stems and everything. So Scott, yeah, freezing tracks to audio is like having an audio stem. And then, you're like basically turning off the device rack to save CPU power. So that's what you can do. Also, by the way, if you can use Command E to remove the stop buttons in session view, that can help save CPU power. Or even if you have everything in the arrangement, if you completely delete everything in session view and then like remove all the stop buttons, that's one little trick you can do to save some CPU power. Also, an easy one to miss is when you have all your audio tracks, go to the input and make sure it's set to no input. Because if you have it set to like external input, I saw a friend of mine was doing a session for a theater thing, and he had like 60 tracks for all these audio cues in Ableton, and every audio channel had the input set to external mic, and the laptop mic was like showing a little green bar for every audio input on 60 different tracks. And I was like, dude, turn all those off. That's all taking analog to digital conversion power for nothing, literally for nothing. So that's another little thing you can do if you're having hungry plot processor overheating and everything. So Ian, let us know when that's up for release. Great job with that track. And also, I really like your, there's a couple of comments where you show a screenshot of your idea, where you just have like a white paper, some notes, like use these sounds, put them together, have this structure, do that as the idea for a track. And then later we get to hear how you build it out with all those things. That was a pretty cool little mind map to get a look at. So I want to hit up, what was that? Discord. Hit up Scott Burke on this one. No, not apnea. Screen. I want to read all these comments right now. Okay, so we're in the house section, and let's hear a bunch of edits on Mars Water 4.2. EQ back to flat. There's our level coming in good. All right. So far, sounds good. Perfect vocal. Melody sounds great, low end sounds great, background atmosphere, smooth. And the groove is simple and clear. Yes, bringing in that closed hi-hat, awesome. I really like that bass line, little turnaround right there at 208. That was super cool. I got nothing to say on this one. This sounds great. I really like what the bass line did there again at 239. It makes a nice phrase to show you like a song section. Got me in the groove. I think that background synth pad could be a little bit louder, like, but it's swelling now, right? Okay, this synth pad that's still in right here, I would make that louder in this build up, right? Right here it's perfect. You can hear it, it's like a string thing. Could you just take that and swell it up to like a pretty crazy loud level for the drop and then back it off? So it's more like a bigger ramp. Let me do some EQ. That synth right there. Let me see what happens if I do that sweep in this build-up. I'm just gonna boost some mid-range EQ right here. Something like that to just make a more pronounced, obvious, like over the, not over the top screeching, but swell that background synth so it comes up around everything else. It's already mixed in the right place where the melody and the vocal are clear. The synth has its own frequency range and kind of space. So you could push it louder in that build-up to just make that affect the feeling of a build-up. And another way to do that, technically, is, well, besides turning up the volume on the synth, is turn up the reverb send. Like, get a reverb on there that's like, the reverb gets louder around that synth in the build-up. That could be cool. Yeah, Scott, what is that plucked instrument that was in there before? Hey, Tice is here. Thanks for all the comments and feedback on the Discord subscription topic. Okay, Scott is not giving up the secrets. Yes, subtle. What was that little turnaround right here? Little sound before the drop. A little like tiny, subtle, but effective to mark a transition, turnaround, drop. Man, this sounds really good. I think this one is pretty close to done. I only felt one thing I would change. And it stays interesting. It's going through progressions. It stays in the simple groove, but now we're like in a different section, right? Yeah. I mean, maybe the hi-hat could be a little louder, like the percussion could be a little bit snappier, but I think with mastering, that would bring the volume up on the kind of overall mid-high range area. Cool, let's see how we get out to the outro. Great. I was hoping for a nice long tail. 7 minutes is perfect for this track. I want to sit in this track and sit here for a while and just enjoy it. So it's nice to have like good long fade out. Ooh, hitting some high melody notes at the end. And he did not cut off the delay in the reverb tail. Really nice job. 4.2 is done and playable. If you want a creative tip, just so I have something to say, you know, push the synth a little bit in that build up and make a swell. I kind of threw that in there as my own creative touch. Your track is perfect the way it is. Playable, sounds awesome, ready for mastering. I want to make sure I visit the circle. This is like see 2.1 yesterday. Okay. Kind of more like an indie rock sort of thing. Let's hear what we can hear. And sorry I skipped this last week. I didn't mean to. I got distracted on at the end of the show last week. Right away, that kick drum sounds like an electronic producer mixing a rock band, which I love. When I was doing sound with bands, I did that shit all the time. I was like, make it thump, you know, make it sound good. I can hear all the details on the snare drum. Acoustic guitar is nice and strummy and even. It's actually hard to mix acoustic guitar. It's such a simple instrument to pick up and hold, but it's hard to mix. Very wide dynamic range. Vocals are in the right place. Hey, John, take it easy, man. Thanks for popping in. Have a good weekend. And thanks for all the moderation help, as always. Reminds me a little bit of like the Breeders or the Cranberries or something in the 90s, like dreamy, floating, beautiful vocal effects. All right. Drum fills. Listen to the toms. I got to comment on that 118, 119. There's a little bit of a tom roll happening. For rock bands, the drum fills on the toms are like the signature of the drummer, or like the special part that pops out, or like different from the groove. So I always like to mix rack toms louder when the person's going digga 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 digga. That part should be, in my opinion, just a little bit louder than like the hi-hat and stuff, so you hear it when it's happening and then it ducks back out of the way. So what I would do is turn up those drum fills right around 118. Right now I heard them on the left side, like a little tap 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 thing. I think you could push those up a bunch louder. maybe spread them so they're on both sides. Instrument group sounds great with vocals, effects, lead melody guitar, strumming, background vocals. It's nice and wide, feels good. Let me just check in mono. Did that get a little phasey in mono? Okay, let me go back to the vocal part. Listen to the vocal, sounds like it has kind of a, let me not talk over the vocal. When I went into mono, I started to hear kind of a phasing effect that was like, whoosh. Let's just listen to that and see if that's is that a phaser effect or what's happening? We're in stereo right now. Mono. Yeah, Scott, you hear that? Yeah. So if you don't intentionally have a phaser on there, you might want to check your vocal effects and make sure they're mono compatible so that it is going to sound normal when it's on one speaker or something. Yeah, Shepard's a Phil Collins drum fill. Maybe not quite Phil Collins, but I like that cymbal. It's kind of dark, but loud. Oh yeah, this harmonic thing, this like backwards shit, I remember this. Phone off. I think I asked last time about 328 to stop the reversed part. And now we're cruising through the outro in the groove. Sounded like there was a lot of drum fills right there around 345, 340. All right. And tweaking some electronics at the end. I like it. That's a well done track. It's difficult to mix in a thick instrument group with a lot of vocals and background and effects and acoustic guitar and lead melody on there. So really nice job with the instrument group. That's the main thing that has to happen in music like this. Like the vocal has to sound pretty and good and beautiful and big and be surrounded by all the harmonic stuff. And then the cool low end mixing of drums and bass is like kind of showing like, hey, this has an electronic mind behind it. So for details, I would bring up the toms in the drum kit. Floor tom, rack tom, however those are available. If they're in a separate audio file, that would be best. If they're not, and you only have stereo drums, then you can only do what you can do. And I like the touch of that reversed stuff at the end that makes it kind of like. So, okay, some Mindbender comments. Yeah, that is definitely coming together. What'd you say? Got the bass tone closer to where it was originally. Yeah, I think that one's about done. So, I wanted to hit up the Randy Adams because Randy's here. So let's check this out. Oh, good. So the toms are individual. So if you can spread the toms so that they're hitting on both sides and keep, even with the floor tom, that can be big down to like 90 hertz, but don't have any sub bass or anything in the low floor, in the low toms. They can be really kind of like popping at around 125 hertz. Scoop out 600. Okay, good. If you have double vocals, that could be a phase problem. I know I'm talking over Randy. We're in the intro. Everything sounds good so far. Now where do we go? Nice ear candy. Let me push up the broadcast level a little bit. Randy's always coming with the deep house heat. The bass line is clear. Sub bass and kick are clear. I like the chords, stabs, sound design, plucks, whatever those are. Nice use of space. Matt Schultz mono. Oh, cool. We're going to phase 2. New synth. Really nice reverb around here. Sounds wet. Okay. I got a comment for 240. We have this opening synth. Wah, wah, wah. When the second one comes in, I would leave that first one out right here. I'm not ready to hear the first synth again. This new chord progression is super cool, but you should keep the first synth out for a little while longer. Because I'm kind of like getting attached to the second synth line. And it's a little bit like a clash of too many ideas at once. And the simplicity got lost. Yeah, Oliver, harmonically, those two synth parts didn't match. Okay. I'm looking for the notes of the second synth part. It's like this. And that's really cool. That was in the new. All right, so that's on a note A right here. What are the notes on the opening synth? Yeah. Unfortunately, the opening synth is centered on B flat. Sounds like B flat minor. Right? So you have a B flat minor tonality on the opening section, like part 1. Okay, and then on the second chord progression, it's coming in centered on the note A, which is a half step down, which is a harmonic clash. So what we have is like the new chord progression is like this. And on top, there's this B flat minor. That's the exact harmonic clash, which is the feeling of too many sounds at the same time. Now, if you want it to actually be like that on purpose, that's okay. But I think it would be amazing to take that opening sound and just take it down a half a step, so that when the second chord progression comes in, they're all going to fit together. It's okay to have a little bit of a dissonant thing, but this is repeating a lot. I hope that's helpful. I went into keyboard land for a second there. Drum programming is great. Sound is interesting. Low end feels like it's working, and like the overall presentation of the sounds in the mix is super cool. Totally goes with the Randy Adams style. Just that one thing, and this is pretty much the only problem I've really ever heard Randy making, is that there's like too many ideas kind of pushed together, and harmonically it's like not fluid. And then ultimately the bass line needs to match with whatever those chords are playing. Looks like the bass note's playing the note A. So the second chord progression seems like it's fitting with the bass line. Hand percussion could come up a little bit. I agree on that, Taib. Yeah, the bass is playing A and F sharp. Matt Schultz. I don't know about that F minor, maybe F sharp. I love that little sound. That's great ear candy. Maybe the bass line could use a little bit of EQ somewhere between 150 and 300 in that place where it sounds kind of hollow and like wah, wah, wah. That's kind of a detail mix for the low end. All right, cool. So the main thing that should happen here So Randy, that opening sound, can you pitch that down half a step? So that the first synth comes in as a puzzle piece that fits together with the other synth and the bass line harmonically. Then you have a harmonic stack of sub bass, low chords, stabby pluck synth on top that makes like one giant chord with like a 10-finger monster playing it. That's my opinion. The mix is cool, style is cool, vibe is cool. Song structure is always awesome with Randy's tracks. They're always like, it's like you could just play it and be like, I'm in the deep house zone. So I like that a lot. I like everything about that track. And I even like it that there's something we can talk about harmonically. We don't really get a chance to do that so much anymore. Talking about scales. Yeah, scales effect and everything. Most of the tracks we've been reviewing in the last year have been so good that we don't have to talk about bass line harmonics or chord progressions or something. It's nice to dip into that a little bit. So what else we got in here? I think the journey is done. Let's check out what Taib has been up to. Version 3, change the kick. Little millisecond delay, 91 BPM. What do we got? EQ flat, stereo wide, headphones up. Yeah, Randy, that was close too. It was like, you were almost exactly right on, but just a little bit off. So here's what the sonic picture of excellent hand percussion sounds like. Check this out. Look how that's big at 160, 200 hertz. Those frequencies sound great for hand percussion and not so good on sub bass. love that chunky bass line with the kind of bright top. Bench. Oh, that bottom. Banjo is so bright and fresh. Sounds like a bluegrass recording. And then the bass is really deep and tight underneath. Yeah, Matt, so Taib, you're playing that banjo and recording it? I'd like to know how you recorded that actually, like what kind of mic and the flute. Beautiful long feedback on that delay. That's a swell. One more time, I want to hear what that flute does. So Scott, this is kind of like the Canada track, the first one I played from Canada. This is sort of the feeling I had of like a harmonic mid-range synth pad going wah, like getting crazy loud. Right here. Big swell and then a release. That's effective for me. Oh, cool! You got a 414. It sounds like a really like a close mic condenser. I like how the top end, the high frequencies of the bass line combined with the banjo to make it like da, 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 da. Total like global bass vibe right here. Yes, shaker, nice. I got nothing to say, man. This is sounding great. Everything's working. Let's check mono. Stereo. Yeah, the reverbs and everything feel a little bit like boring when you go on mono. But none of the sounds are disappearing, right? Especially the big wide bass line. The bass line is what you want to work in mono. That clap. Taib, I think you're done on this one, man. Definitely low end is sounding good. Feels full. Nailed it. Driving on long journeys. I like that you gave a track of like a reference mix. And the flutes, yeah. There we go. Okay, I want to pull out a detail for anybody watching in replay land. This is about simplicity. I saw a thread where people were talking about in a Facebook Ableton group where they were like, how do you mix a song with 100 tracks? And people were commenting like, how do you have even 100 sounds? Like, that's too many. What we're hearing right now is just hand drums and like a melody layer. Totally simple, totally stripped down and smooth. My point is, when you have high quality sounds, you don't need a huge complicated stack of 20 synths and layers and all this kind of stuff and like multiple things on top of each other. The more you can strip it down and keep it simple, it's easier to EQ, easier to mix, more fun to listen to because you don't have like a hyper complex, oversaturated track. Just right here, it's like so simple. You can mentally still feel the kick drum coming, right? So do we get that back? Just a couple sounds of interplaying. Oh, Taib, the clap is like 7 sounds. Yeah, totally working. Let's see, how do we get to the mix out phase? I hate rushing through tracks. And a nice fade out. Excellent, man. I think that one is done. And there are a lot of global festivals that you could get booked into with tracks like that. Deep, heavy electronic bass, hand percussion, and live instruments on top, or organic sounding kind of folk acoustic instruments on top of electronic bass at that tempo. When it's too hot to be hyper and you want to be chilling in the heat, there's a lot of places you can play that. So nice job, nice job. Where can we go next? The Journey. Oh, there's the master. I think we touched on that last week. The Journey. We did Mars Water. Do we have any techno to play today? Oh, we do. Version 1 from Shepherds. What is happening? Oh, high note. Burp. Yeah, get that mastered. Matt Schultz, will there be a Christmas stream or not? Yes, we're definitely going to do a Christmas week stream. I don't know what day exactly. Well, let me know who's traveling or whatever. I'm thinking the 23rd I'm busy, the weekend not during Christmas weekend and everything, but like from the 26th, 27th, the week between Christmas and New Year's. Who's available? Like, what day would be good for you all? The ticky clicks. Ticky, ticky, ticky. What was that little transition sound? With the reverb? That was cool. Shepard's bottom end is feeling good. What did you ask for on this feedback, actually? And I'm glad you're feeling better after your procedure in the hospital. So for version 1, this is already playable at version 1. I like this sound. All right, that right there is a perfect example. That's a perfect example of sound design, tweaking a sound that's in the mix to create a transition buildup from something we've been listening to for a little while. Let's listen to how this little sound comes in. That when it's like, how does that develop from right here? Wait. Okay, it's sneaking in right now. Fade it in. then some layers came in, and now it's like a dominant lead sound. That's a really nice trick of like bringing in an element before the breakdown, fading it up, and then making it into a dominant sound. The ride cymbal. Nierenstein Infernum. Ooh, nice and calm here. I mean, mainly the distortion kick drum is like the core of this track, and that just feels good to listen to. It's a nice texture, nice sound. What was that glitch? .244, it went brrr. That was a very cool rhythmic edit. Pitch in the ride cymbal. I hear you're doing a lot of transitions and a lot of like sound tweaks. Yeah, simple track, minimal layers, and it works. Yeah. Wow, creepy vocal. I hear some stereo effects on the vocal. Yeah, you got a lot of cool sounds in here. This is pretty well developed. About 140. Right here, I think it could use a little more percussion. 4.5 minutes, it's a little bit empty. Let me just roll back here. Okay, so 4 minutes, we just got like some hi-hats. Hi-hats fade down. Okay, so like around 4.5 minutes, it felt like it was kind of like falling flat or dying. I would keep the percussion busy in this section. Yeah, more like this, where it's like active hi-hats ride. And then here, the hard outro. So for the shape of the track, I'm going to draw with the mouse. We've got like overall intro and stuff. When we get up to this gap or breakdown, this section right here should really be like full and busy, kind of like a second climax, and not let it drop off too soon, because here at like 4.5 minutes, it felt like it was emptying out. It wasn't really the ending of the track. It wasn't the outro. It just sort of felt like, like where's the percussion? Where's the drums? So if you don't mind this comment, I would add some more percussion in this part and make sure that stays really active. And then this last section can be like the final slam of back to just the big simple kick drum. The kick drum and the tick, 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 tick. Right here it sounds good because we're coming into the ending and it's just hard. That's my opinion. Yes, this is good right here. A little kick, a little rumble, that's all you need. Oh, cool ending. So what would happen if in here, what if there was like a snare position, like a little click? Maybe something for a backbeat, not like a snare drum or a hand clap, but kind of a metallic, like kind of something industrial, like you know, like a metallic clink in the snare position. That might keep the beat feeling strong in that second part. Only made 100 edits today. Oh my gosh. Most people do like at least 102 edits. I don't know. DJ Waters, I was wondering what you would think. This is very similar to a DJ Waters kind of a style of like distortion kicks, a little vocals, a little storytelling. So DJ Waters' vocals sound distorted. I'd put it deeper, but that's personal preference. Yeah, Shepherds, it's great for version 1. It's playable, it sounds good, it's enjoyable, and the ending section is nice and raw and hard. This part, I get to this ending and I'm like, yeah, this is the fun part. And right here, specifically, this. That fuzz, listen to that. I would like to sample that and just high pass filter it up to like 5,000 hertz and keep that like that little fuzzy crinkle, wrinkle, whatever that is. Cool track. I'd like to hear version 2. That's going to be some good stuff. What do we got? 9 o'clock for me. Tice, is this an update? I don't think I reviewed this last week, right? It was on the 10th. Came from the 16-bar loop thread. Let's see what this looks like, and let me know. Wait, we did play this last. How do we do that? Oh, cool. So Shepard is incorporating some of the distortion techniques that Ian shared about Frenchcore. That's my favorite thing, to see one person share a production idea, somebody else take it, make some music, and then tell us what we're listening to. That's like exactly what I want to do in 2023. Like, here's a rack, somebody made this, let's all play with it, see what kind of sounds we did. I think that'd be fun. Okay, Northridge. This 5.14K. That high frequency might be a little too much right there, because it's all by itself, like, ee. Wow, mixed on headphones, some hardware. This is a great mix, and I like your idea about putting out tracks eventually that just are clipped out of a live set. That's a great goal to do, to be able to perform a live set that sounds so good you can get it mastered and put it out as a single track. What's that sound? Right there, 131. Oh, good, hi-hats coming in. Where'd the hi-hats go? Okay, production tip. In the arrangement, when a new sound like that hi-hat comes in, you get a burst of energy, and then when it stops, it's like, what? I was not ready for that sound to stop. Right here, okay? Like, please bring that back. That was such a cool thing. Maybe that was a mistake. Maybe you didn't mean to bring it in at that moment. Okay, here's a ride. Oliver, synth louder. Which synth do you want? The pad or the boom? Okay, now here come those hi-hats. See, now that feels good. It takes the energy up a layer and keeps us grooving. So maybe the first time they came in, that might have been a little mistake of unmuting the wrong sound or something. Shepard's good note on that lower boomy kind of thing. It has that kind of like, oh, whoa, 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 that kind of thing. That synth looks like the mountain. Mountain peak, triangle. Synth pluck triangle. Hey, Scott, thanks for hanging out. Really nice job on the tracks. Look forward to hearing your updates. Have a good weekend. tweaking some leads. I like that blippy. What instrument is that? Is that the Nord rack? So far it's cool, totally flowing, sounding good. The pulsing atmosphere in the background feels like that layer of clouds around a mountain, sort of like always there, but you can't really touch it. The lead is great. Reverb, motion. Okay, that cymbal needs to be a little louder because the lead is pretty loud. Those cymbals could come up. Yes, right here. I don't want to be predictable, but I was missing some kind of a signal in the high frequency range, like a crash right here. Somewhere around 4 or 5. That drop was a little bit, it could have been a harder focus on that one drop. I like the pulse though. Overall, it's like, wow, wow. I would listen to, I would go for a low-end model from like Nat Schultz dub techno in this one, where there's a big lumpy kick drum and a sub bass that's in between it. Boom, 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 whoop. Oh, perfect illustration, right on time. Listen to that sub bass bump that comes in around 440 when the kick drum drops out. Just right there at 436, we can hear the sub bass by itself. Okay, stop. Let's go back to Matt Schultz's new release and just get a kind of a dub techno mix reference. Here's a mastered track, atmospheric pad, kick drum, sub bass. How do these work together? I didn't touch the broadcast level. So listen to how that sub bass is right in between the kick drums. And they're totally separate characters where they have a rhythmic identity. Okay. That's sort of like the concept I think the Northridge could help or benefit from. The kick drum is clear, but the sub does not have like a super rhythmic pulse of its own. So if you had it more like boom, 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 boom. Let me know if you get what I'm saying about that, to have the sub bass more like simple and clear in between the kick drum hits, sort of like a dub techno reference mix model. Okay, I just saw your comment. Sub bass is sub plus rumble layer in sidechain mode. Yeah. That sub is good. Short pulses. Those could actually be a little bit louder, kind of similar to the kick drum with a short duration, so they're just like whoop, whoop. Yeah, a little bit of low-end work. I like the swing on those hi-hats. Sonically, to me, this one is like, it's like a dub techno mix with a tech house hi-hat on top. A couple good comments about the lead, that lead continuous pluck synth. This is, I think you're talking about this one. Is that the lead pluck you're talking about? I just want to identify the sound that goes with that comment. So that lead needs more variation. That's a really interesting comment when we know that the person making it is doing live a live jam or DAWless almost or whatever, and you have a pluck sequence, this one, right? So maybe after 407, that could fade down and leave space for the low end to groove. It's easy when you're doing hardware jams that you have one thing on a pattern, you're doing something else, and you can't pay attention to like that other thing because you're not automating stuff with the mouse. So that's an example of one sound that might be a little bit too repetitive and maybe needs like another pair of fingers to tweak something on there to make it change over time. And let's see the ending of the track. I like the beats a lot. How do we get to the ending? Yeah. Like this part where the lead is gone in the groove. Now it's like Randy Adams. Boom, boom, boom. 126. Boom, boom, boom. Right there. Boom, boom, boom. Cool, man. Claps on that. For version 1, that's a great track. And for being recorded from live hardware, that makes it even better. So these critical comments are pretty small things you can do. And it's hard to give somebody comments when they're doing live jams because you're kind of like, I'm not talking about how to edit this one track. I'm talking about how to build every track you make after this to avoid the problem of a super repetitive pluck that just keeps going because you're paying attention to something else. Or avoiding the problem of your sub-bass synthesizer coming into the mixing board just without any processing relative to your kick drum or something. So it's interesting to do problem solving for live sets. The good news is when you solve a problem, then every other track you do is going to get better. But the bad news is you're not just saving a preset or automating a lane in a sound. You're kind of like going to your setup and being like, oh, how do I get these changes into my gear? Extravelt, yeah. Super Mario synth stab. Yeah, version 1 is really good. We're picky as fuck. Looks like Gabriel probably dropped in something. Who is here on the stream that had tracks that we wanted to hit up? I feel a little bit out of touch because of my sort of like interesting week. Was this one new? Little something I started a couple days ago. The Mindbender. Not sure where to take it. Reuse the vocal. Quite mean, distorted kick and a new acid line. Look at that big happy face. It looks like a fried egg. And it's 808 long. Oh my God. Yeah, Shepherds, I think that's Gabriel's 183. Yeah. All right, Morton, are you still here? Got the acid working, got the stereo percussion. What's this in mono? And stereo. Whoa. Okay, you guys are here, good. Yeah, that vocal's fun. I would not have the vocal so early in the track in a later version. Save some of that vocal for later, maybe bring it back later. People are losing their mind. I like the vocal presentation. It reminds me a little bit of some of the Machine Soul stuff you did. Ooh. I like that extra kick layer. Boom, 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 boom. Good hi-hats. I think the vocal could be a little louder, because that acid lead is really busy. Oh shit. want to see where this goes because it's a long track. It's a funny rhyme. Ear candy. Okay, first off, what I want to have right now is that distorted vocal as a separate file, because that would be really fun to mix in on top of other DJ sets or other moments. It's funny. He's rhyming. He's saying cool stuff. He's saying cool words like, I get high on acid house. So right off, I'm thinking 3 versions of this track where version 1 is what we're hearing right now. Version 2 is the acapella vocal, and version 3 is the instrumental acid track without the vocal, so that as a DJ, I could work in. Sometimes, honestly, a track like this, the track is awesome, and I want to play it in a set without the voice, because sometimes the audience is not ready. They just don't want to hear a vocal. It would be too distracting. Sometimes you want to just stay super deep in the music. Other times you do want the vocal, so I would do a 3-version release of this one. And they're all playable. Right here. Yeah, man. And this is version 1. It's like totally playable. Cool sounds. What just happened with the kick drums back here? Okay, there's a rhythm I want to bring out more. The rhythm is going doom, ba-doom, doom, 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 boom, ba-doom, boom, boom. The ghost hits in between feel like they're a little too muffled or like kind of mushy. So could you make those rhythmically crisp? Yeah, boom, ba-doom, boom. I think you probably could figure out how to do that. This is only version 1. Heaviness. And the acid lead sounds a little dry. Where's that reverb and a little extra delay and the little like micro shifting the delay time on the acid lead to get the mind bender fullness? DJ Rush vibe. And the outro. Oh, and the little baby fade out. All right, cool, man. Version 1 is playable. I really like the concept and the feel of the vocal. It's fun, and it would add a lot to a party vibe at the right moment. Eventually, could we have 3 versions? Like I said, the acapella vocal, the instrumental version, and then the full mix with everything in there. And then dress it up a little bit. Some effects on the acid lead, vocal a little bit louder, and maybe a little bit less low end. The vocal is like a raspy voice that's in a frequency range below the acid lead. So you could actually raise the volume on the voice and get it kind of like together with those. Ian has to go and find holes in the metal. I love that photo you posted with the gap of like an inch between the I-beams or not welded at all. Ian has some interesting job challenges. Bye. Yeah, rumble on a second track. Yeah, cool. So Morton, I'd like to hear version 2 of that one. Ben, is this a new track? Version 1.5. Took a scalpel to the vocal. Let's see what we got. EQs are flat, stereo width. Cool, cool, cool. What is this changelog? Look at this. Chopped and slipped them. Okay, a lot of vocal work. Cowbell. Whoa, Ben's best track ever. That's a good review. me check some high EQ. Curious about this SoundCloud thing here. I think overall the mix could use a little bit of highs, but that probably is the SoundCloud version we're hearing. Yeah, the clap maybe could come up a little bit. This lead sound is a little buried. That could be a little louder, right?
I look forward to the morning when I can do anything I want to do in my life. Give me no more ties. Every day I see confession, reminisce about all the things. No matter what you do,
Vocal sounds great.
been coming home to you.
Yeah, Ben, this is beautiful, man. This is really working. Rhythmically, it kind of has that bubbling thing. Dooba, 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 dooba. The kick drum might be a little boomy, I guess. But the low bass part of the synth feels like it's okay with the kick. Yeah, the vocal is perfect.
You are the freak.
Listen when the kick drum drops out right here. I felt a little bit of a separate bass part.
Streets and you're barely sleeping, and you're giving me no lie.
There's the track title.
No lie. Give me no other lies. You're out of time and you seem out of line. Every time I get no lie. You give me no life.
Okay, for the third time today. In the transition, there are some sounds in the mix that I would like to hear louder and louder and louder as we approach that drop. So the vocal can be constant volume. There's some little ear candy in the background that's like pew, 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 like those new disco tom pitch drop things going pew, pew, pew. So let's listen to that transition again, or the build-up thing. What are the synth sounds that could get louder around the vocal to make a build-up?
Give me no other lies.
Not the bass line, leave that alone. The synth pad could swell, but these little ones,
Every time I get no
pew, 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 those I think should get louder and louder and louder. Pew, 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 pew. And the effects swell. It's a minor detail, but a couple, just like one synth sound, if you tweak it to get louder and louder in that transition, it'll feel like the track is like blossoming around your head. And then it drops into the bass and it gets like big and simple again. Shepherds, some more liters of reverb in the break, yeah. Matt Schultz, this is like an after the club, get home and cook breakfast with your friends. But yeah, Ben, those are kind of like little details. This is feels very solid right now. In fact, I'm gonna say the same thing as I said on the last track with Martin. This could be excellent as an instrumental and then a full mix. And this vocal you could actually, well, I don't know if I want this vocal as an acapella, but dude, you just did what I was about to say. What I would like to do is have the vocal separately, to have an instrumental version, dub the vocal with fewer words and more effects and everything. Right when I was about to say that, you did it right here at 4:45. Listen to this vocal effect. That is super cool to have a vocal you're familiar with, chop out the main, put it into a delay, have the delay go on top of the instrumental. That's exactly what I wanted to hear. And I like how these graphics look like a Star Wars lightsaber battle. Like, This is great, man. Song structure, I mean. I'm at 5 minutes, totally in the groove. New little sound. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I gotta say, Ben, over the last year, your ear candy over the last year has been really good from you. It's super interesting, lots of details, keeps it flowing. Glad you're hooking up with Mindbender on some acid type mastering direction. Nice clap reverb. Matt Schultz dropping recipes. Whoa, parallel saturation and chorus on the vocal. Get the parallel satch. Nice ending. Ben, that's done. That's 99.9% done. That's ready for mastering. Gave a little creative advice on what I would do in the build-up. That doesn't mean you have to do it. There's nothing really wrong with this track at all. And who did I miss? Who is here that we can play? These guys are not here. I know Gabriel just posted this during the stream, and it's a final mix from. I'm not sure if we heard this one before in a different thread, but let's see what we got. And I'm going to talk over this a minute. Track feedback is going to be changing next year. I'm not, as I said in my last video, the one I uploaded in the news from Steve, I cannot keep doing live video reviews of so many tracks every week. What I'm looking forward to doing is more version 1 recordings where we play sounds, talk about like the rack that the sound came from and how it's used in the music. That's what I would like to really be able to do, so we can showcase some interesting sound design efforts and some early stages of music, and hopefully inspire people to take a new rack and start some new music with it. Kind of more of a creative hangout session. I want to keep doing live streams where we all comment and hang out and like see each other, but without so much detailed focus on the versions like 1.5 to 1.6 to master. I think you guys understand the message. So, and I haven't fully decided exactly what the live stream flow is going to be like. I do love being on video. I love teaching stuff, and I love having a weekly thing where we can get together and hang out. I want to keep all that thing and also make it possible for more people to come into Discord, post tracks, get feedback, trade comments and writing with timestamps. Those are helpful. A lot of people have been saying, yeah, that's very helpful. Let's put this up and see what Gabriel's been doing. This is not 92. 184. Hard tech sound. Rat-a-tat. I like those kick drums. Bum, 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 bum. Amazing ear candy and percussion. And the background atmospherics. Like shwa, shwa.
Because I'm older, I'm telling you, our music was better.
Back in my day, our music was better. Not this garbage the youngest listen to. Warber, warber, warber.
Good vocals, good volume on the vocals. This is heavy and deep right here. Check this out.
Warber, warber, warber.
Yeah, man, it's crisp too. The low end is like fast and clear. Look at that phase scope. It's already pretty, not a lot of stereo image. Let's go into mono. That was amazing. It got so clear in mono. Here's stereo. And mono. Yeah, it feels like forest psytrance. Nice. I love how sound design keeps changing in this. Drum programming is great. Mix is good. I'm pushing up the broadcast volume. Yeah, it sounds like it might have been hard to mix. There's a lot going on. All right, phase 2. I'm amazed at the detail going on in here. There's so many things changing at the same time. So Gabriel, what was hard about mixing it for you? I'm curious. What did you think was the hard part of mixing on this? Nice. Shepard's good comment about the low mids there. Slight dynamic EQ, 120, 200, 250. I'm gonna go boost the low mids. There's the EQ in the low, like around 200. It's kind of like, if you cut out some of that 250 area, it can make the low end feel a little more clear and crisp and the bottom deeper. Amazing layering. I think you mixed the mid-range sounds really well. All these instruments overlapping, glitching out. You can hear them all though, you know? Oh, it's fast and too many channels. Yeah, I hear that. I think you did a good job though. It seems pretty clear. Mainly I can feel one kick drum. I can feel the bass line going digga-digga-digga-digga-digga. Sometimes it feels like there's a lot of reverb, and the sounds that go up into the reverb are lingering for a long time. Yeah, cool bass line. Really excellent sound design and layering. Yeah, a lot of elements overlapping in the mid-range, what, 2K, 4K. Wow, 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 wow. Super fun to listen to. And final mix, it sounds like a final mix. I mean, that sounds like a record. It's well done. You can hear there's a ton of attention first in the sound design, the sounds themselves, then how the sounds change over time, then the layering in the mix. This was interesting to listen to all the way through. The arrangement was like perfect. So I had a good time with that one. How is the background in the mix? Well, I felt like some of the reverb was... Sometimes the reverb was too long, so the sounds going up into the reverb, it like gets kind of washed out. Yeah. One other thing I want to point out about Discord is I just deleted a couple of channels thanks to the suggestions from Denats and Ben and Shepers. So up here in music production, there's a bunch of stuff that's gone. Like there was a separate channel for mixing tips and mastering questions and something. So that can all be condensed under tutorials or just production talk. There was something about music inspiration and videos. Like if you have anything from a live show at all, live stream, a video, a recording from a live set or a DJ set, all those can go in DJ sets. We don't need a separate place for videos. I do like to see recordings and photos from live shows. And then there's one called Writer's Block that's fun. So anything about general inspiration, workflow, mental health, being depressed, or just wanting some creative fun, put that in the Writer's Block so that can be there. We have the record label project. We have record label contacts, which might be interesting for archive stuff if you want some links to look at. And it's just kind of simpler, so there's less stuff. Then down here, I relabeled Hardstyle is called Hardcore for DJ Waters. I changed the acid tracks to just be acid house, acid tracks, and then breakbeat so that the acid and breakbeat are separate. Then we have everything else tracks. I think that should make it a little more clear of what channels are available. And one thing I want to point out, when we switch on Discord subscriptions to make it possible for new people to sign up and subscribe right in Discord, what's going to happen is everybody in the track feedback crew is going to get kicked out of all these channels, and I have to get you reassigned. So that's going to be happening later on at the end of the month. And I'll put out an update very clear of when it's going to happen, what's going to be happening, and what are the options for new subscriptions. My goals for 2023 are to bring in more people into Discord, get more people sharing track feedback, and get more people making new sounds with the Ableton racks that we generate so we can have some sound design tutorials happening. I want to keep doing live streams where we hang out, but they're not going to be focused on me trying to review 25 tracks in a live stream. So instead, we're going to have some other variations of live streams. I like the idea of doing 5 tracks at a time from one genre, or a live stream from a new rack where we just play a whole bunch of different music that people made using that rack. I'm very open to people contributing their racks to the group in the Racks Presets Patches channel, which is right up here. I forgot. When you click into a different channel, you cut off the music. Sorry. So I'm not going to give you a final presentation right now of what is going to be the 2023 product options and subscription options, but some things are going to get updated, and the overall idea is that it's going to be better for me as a as an admin to be able to handle all the flow of traffic and continue with tons of support and interaction and community happening in our server, because that's what keeps me going, and that's my favorite part of all this stuff. Yeah, Shepherd's minimal task for Gabriel. Give it a little rest, come back, do a final tweak. You're going to have to compare it to some reference mixes to really tune in on what the low end needs and how the high end fits together in that 3,000 hertz range. But overall, that's great. And for everybody, the tracks are amazing, totally playable. All the versions we've been through have been really listenable with just a couple of edits for each one to get them up to 100% quality level. So I'm proud of everybody for putting in all the energy, and also for giving each other such useful comments. This crazy arrangement is the vibe of high tech. Yeah, man. That's also really easy. Like, there's a ton of festivals with that style where you could get booked in playing that kind of music. And I hope you do, and let us know where you're playing, because I'd like to hear more of that. So it's 9:30, been on for about an hour and a half. I'm going to wrap it up for this week. I will put out some more little GoPro videos where I talk about what's happening with the plans for Mixitecture. Thanks so much for everybody flowing with everything and keeping the inspiration live. I'm really excited to share some more of my own original music in 2023 and show you how I make tracks, how I escape the 8-bar loop, and how I can lead that into some courses to help other people do the same thing, so we can stay on the path of creativity and output. If you have any questions out there in replay land, you can get in touch with me, steve@mixitecture.com. And that's going to be it for now. And special thanks to all our moderators, Sheppers, Ben Hunt, Denats, AFL, Chris Circuit, and James Sargent for putting in the work to hang out in the channels and make sure everybody gets comments and keep it all smooth. So that's it for this time. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a fantastic weekend, and I'll see you during Christmas week for some hangouts. All right. There we go. All right. Bye.